Hey guys, Sleepy here, and welcome to a brand new episode of my weekly gaming playlist series. We made it to another Friday, so it's time to chat and discuss and talk about the games I played this past week. Would love to hear your thoughts, so if you played any of the games I shared today, let me know what you thought of them. I always enjoy hearing about games you guys are playing, because that gives me ideas of games that I might want to play myself. And I appreciate all the suggestions you guys have given me over the years of games you guys think I might enjoy playing. If you guys have a suggestion, let me know. I'm playing another game here on my Xbox Series X. I started playing this after I beat Scars Above, and I've been playing it for the past 2 weeks. And that game is Silent Hill F. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Silent Hill series. I've played all the Silent Hill games now that have been released, and I beat them all multiple times except for Silent Hill 4. That's the only one I need to actually go back and beat. I got really far in it and then stopped playing it on the PC. I also played a little bit on the original Xbox. But other than that, I really have enjoyed the Silent Hill series, and this one has been on my radar for a while, wanting to try it out. Now, it does a big departure from the normal Silent Hill games. You know, it doesn't take place in the town of Silent Hill, and it's not set in America. It's actually set in a Japanese fictional rural town in the 1960s, and you play as a high school girl called Hinako Shimizu. So it's definitely a different change from the traditional Silent Hill games, but I really did enjoy the change of setting for the series. And the basic story is you play this high school girl, and you're living in this rural town where there's a lot of traditional Japanese traditions and the way the people live here, their belief system and everything. But it also kind of contradicts with how the modern world is taking over, and so those two kind of things kind of conflict. And her home life is pretty bad. She has an abusive father. He created his own restaurant with a friend, and the friend screwed him over, and the business is failing. So her father got into depression, and so he started drinking to cope with it, and because of that, it made him a violent drunk in the way he treats his family, and that, you know, he's dominating over them. Her mother's like his punching bag, but she's also kind of stuck in the middle where she's, you know, being there for her husband because he controls her, and then she's trying to take care of her daughter, and she's stuck in the middle of those two fighting, and just that whole dynamic leads to a lot of psychological issues that the main character you play as has to deal with, and that is presented into the game world, where in these Silent Hill games, you know, it always deals with like psychological stuff and how the world is shaped around their own experiences and stuff, and that's where the story takes place. And I don't want to get into too much detail for the story. As you play through the game, you'll experience more and more of the story, but overall it's been a very fun experience. I'll read you guys from the back. Discover a new chapter in the Silent Hill series, blending psychological horror with haunting Japanese setting. So it is unique with that Japanese horror setting, which reminds me a lot of things like Ju-on and The Grudge and stuff. So if you guys are into Japanese horror and know that it's kind of strange and odd and just really outlandish and out there, it's definitely worth checking out. So let's check out some gameplay of Silent Hill F. Hey guys, today we're checking out Silent Hill F. Now, I'm a big fan of the Silent Hill series, and I've played all the Silent Hill games in the series, and this one's been on my radar ever since I saw it released. And this has been recommended to me by several people who said that it was a really good experience. They did tell me that, you know, it's definitely different compared to the other Silent Hill games, as it doesn't take place in the town of Silent Hill. It takes place in this fictional Japanese town in 1960s. And I'm going to butcher this, but it's Ebasugoko, something like that. So it's a fictional town, and you play as a high school student named Hinako Shimizu, and she navigates through this town after it's consumed by fog, and you gotta solve puzzles, and you gotta fight these really ugly and grotesque monsters. And I really like the monster design, and I'm someone that enjoys how weird and strange some Japanese horror can be, especially if you guys watch movies like The Grudge and stuff, and Ju-on and that. I get a lot of vibes like that in this game, so it's just a really interesting Silent Hill experience. So let's check it out. The game does have fantastic music. Like all their Silent Hill games, you know, just got classic music. So they did a fantastic job with the music. Graphics look amazing here on my Series X playing my 4K TV, and I've really been enjoying my time so far. So you guys have your menu here where you have your equipment, which you can have 3 different weapons. Now this is similar to like Silent Hill Downpour, where weapons have durability and can actually break. So you don't want to just be going crazy fighting monsters all the time. Sometimes you want to run from monsters. Sometimes it's better to run, but sometimes you have to fight. And so you have to pick your battles and when. And weapons can degrade over time, their durabilities, but you can find toolkits, but they're kind of rare, and you can use those to repair weapons. There's a variety of weapons you can find, and currently I can hold 3 at one time. I don't know if you can upgrade that or not. There's these ornaments to find. They're little collectibles in the game that you can use to upgrade stuff. And then you have a variety of items. Now what's unique about this Silent Hill experience is that you have a limited number of inventory slots, but you can upgrade your inventory bag as you find them throughout the story. So you have to decide what you want to keep and what you don't want to use. And sometimes you want to remember where it is in an area because you might want to go back later and grab it. This keeps track of different collectibles that I found so far. I got the shoulder bag. There's these Emmas, which are these cool little plaques that you find. You can then use to upgrade your character. And then just like in other Silent Hill games, you will find documents around. And this keeps track of all of those. You have the map, which is pretty cool. And there's like the real world. And then there's this dark shine world, which kind of reminds me of like the Rust dimension of the other Silent Hill games. And so as you progress through the map, it'll be unlocked through the fog of war goes away. And then she writes on the map where there's exits you can't go to or where there's paths you can move through. She writes that all down on the map. And you get to explore. So it's not, completely open world, but it's like a semi-open world similar to other Silent Hill games where you can explore this town and, you're going through with monsters leaking around, but then there's also collectibles and things for you to find. So sometimes, it pays just to explore. You don't always want to go straight to the objective. You might want to explore and find items and stuff around the map, but just be aware you're also going to attract monsters, but you can evade them or kill them if you need to. And so far, I've really been having fun with this. It's been a good experience. Her journal keeps track of all different things with characters and the story, the random monsters that you encounter, which is a bunch of different ones in the game. I've only encountered a few so far because we're so early in the game. And then this will talk about the characters. And then as you interact with new characters, you'll get more things unlocked for them as well. Information and stuff in your journal, and then the puzzles, because there are puzzles in this for you to complete. And then little tutorials. If you ever forget how to do something, you can always look here in the journal for your tutorials. And then you have your options, your variety of options you guys can do as well. And then what's cool in this game is there's these little shrines that you can save your progress at. And you can have up to 10 save slots. You can save anytime you find one of these. But you also have this enshrine ability where you can turn in items for faith. And then you can use that faith to upgrade Himiko. So it's pretty cool having RPG elements in a Silent Hills game. And then there's these Omari you can use to get more of those Omari things to use for your weapons and stuff. And then there's also the Prey. This is where you can increase your abilities. So this is where I can get more health, more sanity, or stamina, because she has a stamina meter, but she also has a sanity meter. So, she can go kind of crazy and start degrading her health and stuff if she gets too scared about stuff, and you have to use items to restore that. And the harder difficulties actually make it more difficult, obviously, for the game. I recommend playing it on the base story setting, but put the puzzle on hard, because the hard is basically the medium for puzzles, and that's the most balanced that they recommend. That's what I'm playing on. You can also increase your Omari slots, but you have enough faith. So you want to come here and use these often, save all the time when you can. And I do recommend using a guide. I've actually got a couple guides that I have up on my laptop that I've been using so I don't miss anything. Because that's something I hate in these kind of games is sometimes you get to a point you can't go back and progress anymore. So be aware of that. I just love how eerie the town is. So it gives you that Silent Hill vibe that you get in the other games. But it also has that cool setting of being in a Japanese, like, old school setting, which I think really fits well for a Silent Hill game and these creepy monsters and stuff. So I'll show you guys some combat here with one of the monsters up here. And there's no flashlight in this game, so you don't have a flashlight, and you don't have a radio like other characters do, alerting to enemies. You'll just have music. Sometimes will sound a little different here. You can lock onto enemies, and you gotta really watch yourself because they do a lot of damage. And you want to look for opportunities to. You could stun them like this, where they're knocked down, and then you can get a few free hits on them. So, since she's a high school student, she's obviously not a super soldier. She's not trained in anything, so...
Not good. This won't last much longer.
She's definitely not somebody, that's going to be trained in hand-to-hand combat. And so that's why the combat can be kind of clunky, but it fits for the character. And I kind of like playing as characters that are flawed and not like super soldiers, like Doom guy or something. It's fun in survival horror games to play like the average person and what they struggle to go through. Now, she lets you know when weapons are getting really worn down. And so she mentioned that this one is now low. So if I hit it too many more times, it's going to break. Now, I could use a toolkit on it, but there's some other weapons in the area that I actually want to use, so I'm just using this until it breaks. So this is cool. You have this little menu here you can bring up, and you can push RB to switch between them. And so you have 8 little things you have hotkeyed, and different kind of health items, toolkits, different items will do different things. You'll also find stuff in the world as you explore. So there we got some more candy that helps with the healing. But sometimes you'll run into where you can't pick up an item, and she'll tell you that I have too many. Now, if you pick this up, it'll discard one of your items. So what I'd recommend doing instead is figure out an item you don't want, because if you want that specific item, and find a shrine, and then convert it into the fate so you can have more points to use for upgrading. So this is one of those games for me where I'm not rushing it. I know you can beat the game in like 10 hours. I've heard people beat it as quick as like 7 or 8 because of, knowing where to go. Me, I just want to really immerse myself in the story and take my time and really explore. I'm not into rushing through stuff like this. So we'll come here, and we'll get rid of this T here and get another 100 fate points. And now we can go get that item that was up there. Ooh, nice. Some red capsules. I do recommend be mindful when there are a lot of monsters in an area. You really got to be careful and watch out, because they will try to circle around you and can definitely become very dangerous in certain situations. So sometimes it's best just to run, especially if you have multiple enemies. You don't want to be stuck out there getting wailed on by enemies. As well as you don't want to burn through all your weapons either. So if you don't need to fight, there's no reason to unnecessarily go out and beat enemies to death. If they're not in your way and you don't need to kill them, you might want to avoid them. Which is true in any Silent Hill game. It's not always meant about killing every enemy. There's also times when it is important to run. So we're going to just fight one more enemy, though, just to show you guys a little bit more of the combat. And then we'll end it here. We're just going to find where that little bastard went. There it is. Alright, little bitch, come here. Whoa! Did not know they could do that. So, just wanted to give you guys a little taste of the game. It's definitely...
I'm going to need to find a replacement fast.
a really interesting take in the Silent Hill series. And you got a unique character. I like the Japanese setting. I like the weird monsters. And the puzzles have been really fun. And the story I've really been enjoying as well. So if you guys are a fan of Silent Hill games, if you've never played Silent Hill F, I recommend you guys give this one a try. I'm really enjoying it so far, and I can't wait to beat it, because there actually is 5 different endings. The first time you play through the game, you can only get one ending. But after that, in New Game Plus, you can get other endings. And there's actually a New Game Plus, a second one. And you can unlock even more items and stuff that are unique to New Game Plus mode. So, definitely you guys should check this one out. Alright, I hope you guys enjoyed that look at Silent Hill F. I had a lot of fun with the game. It took me a little over 12 hours to beat it. Now, one of the cool things is, though, you cannot experience the entire story by playing through the game just once, because once you beat the game, you actually unlock New Game Plus mode, which then adds more stuff to the game. It actually expands cutscenes, it adds more content, more side things to do. It also adds more bosses, and it also unlocks additional endings, because there's actually 5 endings total. Now, when you beat the game the first time, you can only get 1 ending, but after you beat it and play New Game Plus mode, you can get 4 new endings. And there's also a joke ending, a UFO ending, which the series is known for having at least 1 or 2 joke endings. But then there are those other endings for you to unlock. And so that was something that's really cool, because it actually makes you want to play the game again with something to actually unlock and new things to discover, which I thought is great. And that's definitely really cool for a Silent Hill game, because the other ones, you can play the new game and you'll get some new items to unlock, and you're able to unlock other endings. But this one actually adds other content to the game that's not originally available in your first playthrough. So I thought that was something that's cool, and I'm definitely looking forward to beating the game again. You have the difficulty settings again, like the super easy mode, the story mode. You can play in hard and Lost in the Fog, and you also do that with a puzzle difficulty. Well, they did update the game and put in an even easier difficulty setting called casual, if you want, that makes the game really easy. I just played it on story difficulty, but I had the puzzle difficulty set to hard. And that's what I would recommend for your first playthrough. That way you get used to playing the game. Now, the combat is kind of clunky at times. You know, it has to do with melee, and you have a dodge mechanic. You have to dodge. You also have stamina, so you can only swing your weapon so many times before you're out of stamina, and dodging enemies and stuff, and they can counter you and you can counter them. And I actually really have enjoyed the combat in the game, because you're not a super soldier, you know, you're a high school girl, so you have to learn when to pick your battles, when to run. But as you play the game, you know, you actually learn the combat and how to beat certain enemies, and know when to dodge and not to, and when to block. And I really had enjoyed it, and I definitely think it's worth checking out. Your weapons do break over time, but you can find weapons scattered throughout the different levels. And the game is broke up into levels where you're in the real world, and then you go into the other world, which and the other ones, you know, there's like a rust dimension. This one's odd and different, where in the other Silent Hill games, when you go to that other world, it's pretty much the same world you're in, just it's influenced by that. Where in this one, when you go to the other world, it's like a completely different area, but it is all connected with the story. So I definitely think you guys should check out Silent Hill F if you're a big fan of the series like I am. It's a nice change of pace from the same old Silent Hill game that you're used to. There are no guns in this, it's just melee weapons. But I really did have a great experience with it. I enjoyed the story, fantastic music, the visuals are good. There's a lot of bloody scenes and violence and stuff in it. It's just really awesome. And it's definitely worth checking out if you're a fan of the Silent Hill series. So let me know, though, did you guys ever play Silent Hill F? Would love to know what you guys thought of it. Love to hear about games you guys have been playing. And if you guys have a recommendation of a game you think I might enjoy playing, let me know, as I'm always looking for new games to play and experience. Well, thank you guys for watching. Take care. You guys have an amazing day. Sleepy will see you next time.